Welcome everybody to the Rapid Reviews Radio podcast. You may notice something slightly different here. I am actually your host for today, Pete Beckett. I have co-opted Kiley's intro because Kiley is now currently back in Belfast after a trip to WASD, where for the first time that we actually met in person. So this episode is going to be a little bit different to our usual format, where we actually recorded live on site each 3 days, and we're going to put those into each different section of the show. But I will be your guide along the way to discuss and lead up to the day's play. So I will give you the background of obviously what had happened, what had gone on, the event itself before we go into the day's event. So this is recorded the day after I have returned, so this is Sunday morning for context. It's the day after the night before, as they say. But I am very tired, so apologies if this doesn't sound as energetic, but it has been a very, very, very busy 3 days, as you'll probably hear, and my voice is a little bit croaked, so apologies for that. But so for those who don't know, what is WASD? We might discuss it along the way. I can't actually remember half the stuff that was in our recording, so some of this will be a surprise to me when I listen to it back. But WASD is a gaming convention that has been going in London for the last couple of years. It originally started out at the Tobacco Docks in the London Docklands, but then moved to the Truman Brewery in East London on Brick Lane for a couple of years, I think last year, in 2023. So they have held two events previously at the Truman Brewery. I attended the one in April of 2023, and several of our friends across the industry attended the WSD Cross IGN one in September of 2023. So this is the first one that I've been to in a year, and this is the first convention where Kiley has ventured out of Northern Ireland to come over to the UK and experience London. So with that said, it was a very, very early start on the Thursday morning, which was the 25th of April of 2024. So Kiley had booked a flight over from Belfast over to London. Luckily enough, the way it worked out, actually she was flying into Gatwick Airport, which is not too far from where I live. So I decided that I was going to go and pick her up from the airport, which was a trip to say the least. So it wasn't difficult for me to get there, but obviously the experience of meeting your co-host for the first time that you've sat in front of a screen and recorded with for the past 4.5 years was quite interesting. So Kiley wanders out from the arrivals hall. I'm staring down at my phone and she appears right in front of me, and it's almost like we've been friends for years, because we have, point proven, online friendships can turn into real friendships, and it doesn't matter how you communicate. Friends are friends regardless of how you meet them, and this will be proven along the way by the amount of people that we met at the show, but we'll get to that in due time. So we make our journey from Gatwick Airport all the way into London. We have several discussions along the way, talking about how it's great we finally met in person. I show her the sights, and we show her where I live, and as we ride past on the train, as you do, we get into London, and as it's her first time in the big city, I do the whole tourist. She does the tourist thing, I do the tour guide thing. So we walk along, we take pictures of various different areas like the Shard, the Thames, Tower Bridge, as we did actually walk from London Bridge over to Brick Lane, which for myself would take about 20 to 25 minutes if I was on my own, but as Kiley had her phone out, it took about 45 minutes. So we arrive at the venue around about 10:30, get ourselves checked in, bags checked, all that sort of thing, and we start to walk around the venue, and then we bump into a few people along the way, and this will be where I will This will be where, I will talk about, obviously, 3, 2, 1. So this would be where we intersect our day one events and talk about, obviously, what we played, what we did, who we met, who we had on, and everything as such. So I hope you enjoy this.
Howdy, folks. This is Kiley. Hello. Pete.
Hello.
And Mags.
Hey.
Coming to you live on Thursday. I have no idea what day it is. What is it, 25th?
25th, yeah.
At WASD in London? Sure. I'll let Pete fill that part in here in a second. But this is our first day impressions live as it happens. Pete, why don't you fill us in a little bit about where we're at, what's going on, what the heck is WASD anyway?
Yeah, so WASD is a convention that has been running for a couple of years now as a split off basically from the guys who used to run interspersed, and it happened at happening at the Truman Brewery in London, and yeah, we're on day one, so day one of 3. So we're basically at the end of the day. You can sort of hear might be a little bit busy. This is live from the floor, and this is the first one that we've ever done in person. So holy shit!
Yeah, 4 years in the making.
Yeah. So yeah, we're basically just going to run through like how the days transpired, the games that we've got around to play, some of the events that we've been to, I guess, and then we'll fill in the blanks from there.
Yeah, because this is all going to get edited later, so I can say whatever I want. Beep, beep, beep.
All right, Gina Carano.
So anyway, I hopped on a plane and got here at like 7. No, I got here at 8.
Yep.
Max left his abode at 5:30 a.m.
That was fun.
Yeah. And Pete lives what, an hour away?
An hour by train, yeah, but I detoured to Gatwick Airport to pick up a wild Kiley.
I was gonna slag him off, but no, to be fair, he also got up early too. But Max and I haven't slept, so this is gonna be real fun. So I'm gonna start with Max, who is more of a, well, actually for our listeners, Max and Pete are more of a seasoned convention goers for this side of the pond.
Guess so.
So I think that will be a little bit better insight, and then I'll give my really, really immature, funny insight afterwards. So, Max, you were here last year.
Yeah.
How does the vibe, the efficiency, the even the layout compare to last year?
Okay, so I was at the one, they ran 2 of these last year, and I was at the one in September. I would say that this is pretty much more compact than the last one. I'd say there's slightly less games, but that's because last September they did have like 4 big titles here, whereas they've gone back to the roots of this being an indie game. I think that was mainly because IGN were involved with the last one in September, hence we had games like Tekken 8, Prince of Persia, to name a few. But this goes back to the indie roots, which is what I like with this event. They've rejigged the floor plan around, so things are in different places, but your main room is absolutely packed. And for the fact that they've sold out the Thursday, I seem to remember the Thursday being the quiet day in September, whereas it's been absolutely rammed. Like the first hour was okay, and it's been rammed from 11 o'clock onwards, and we're now at 20 past 5 in the afternoon, and it's still rammed. So that's a really good sign of how the next 2 days should go. They've got 2 stages. When I previously came down, they had 1 stage. I'd say it's a little bit misleading because their main stage is technically not open today. They were running a Splatoon tournament from there, which I didn't see advertised anywhere, which I thought was a bit weird.
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
Yeah, and then the only way to find out what's on the main stage on the Friday and Saturday is by looking at their Twitter, because in the brochure it doesn't tell you. But it does tell you everything that's on the second stage, which is actually really good, which is the career stage. So anyone that wants to get into the gaming industry and stuff and actually make games or get into art design and that, it's really comprehensive 3 days of content that basically runs from like 11:30 in the morning through to like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So the fact they've got a second stage dedicated for the careers section is really good, to be honest. So first impressions on it is, has it got more games than last year? It doesn't seem, but does it seem better than last year? I would actually say yes. But I'll give you my full impressions if I make it to the 3rd day.
We can but hope. Pete, basically the same question to you. For you, your point of view, how has it differed, same, all of it?
Okay, so I was here last April, so when they first made the move over to the Truman Brewery. The layout last year was a little bit more awkward, let's say, because it was spread over multiple rooms. This one still is, but most of it's all in the main hall. We got a little bit confused getting here in the first hand because I went to the wrong entrance, because I didn't know that actually they changed the entrance around when the WASD and IGN event happened last
I think that's
September.
to a lot of people speaking though that came to the one in April. They didn't realise that the entrance had changed. So
yeah, but that's fine. So I found that actually it all being in mostly one room with a couple of other side rooms to makes it a little bit more efficient. It makes it a little bit of a better layout. I'm probably going to have to agree with Mags here. But I will say that last year they did have a couple of big hitting games like Street Fighter 6. So it wasn't all solely focused on indie, but this event specifically, there's not a AAA game in sight, and having the indie focus is definitely a lot better. It's more of their niche product and actually like what they should be focusing on more heavily, I reckon, because we've got a lot of conventions that will do AAA, but there's not a lot that will focus solely on the indie side of things. So I'm glad that they've sort of carved that out, because now that basically EGX is not really with us to the same degree, it's definitely going to fill a void that was left by the fact that the left field collection wasn't, and all of that is not going to be pretty much at EGX. But overall first impressions have been pretty positive so far, actually. And I'll wait and see what happens on day 2 and 3, and we'll see what happens after that.
So, Max, last year, did you have a creator pass or a press pass or no special pass?
I was quite fortunate to get a creator pass.
How has the creator experience compared to last year?
In some ways they've made it easier, because last year you had to apply. I'll have to say it's probably one of the gaming events that's quickest to get back to you after applying. They get back to you literally within about 2 weeks, which is really good. But last year, Dead Good PR were sponsoring the Creator Lounge, so you actually had to apply separately to get access to the Creator Lounge, and in that lounge I had comfy seats, sofas, a place where you could kind of talk and meet, and had free pizzas every lunchtime and access to water and coffee. This time round, you didn't have to do the separate application. Just by applying, which I did, and again was very fortunate to get it again, you basically got access to the lounge straight away. And I believe this time it's run by Fourth Floor, which is another PR marketing agency for games and gamers and devs. There's no free pizzas, but they've got a slew of free drinks, hot and cold drinks, snacks, crisps, chocolate bars, stuff, and again the comfy sofas and seats. So really, that's just as good, really. And what I have found, again, like last year, is that I was emailed by a number of devs in advance. No doubt we'll get contacted by some during this weekend, because I got invites during the weekend to basically come and have meetings, come and have tryouts, and not just go on a booth and try out a game, but actually have an in-depth conversation with the devs. And they treat you a little bit different, more different, because they know that you hopefully will be covering their game in the future. So I think all in all, it's good in that respect.
Pete, same question to you. Did you have a creator pass or a press pass last year, or just a regular guest pass?
I had a press pass last year. Not sure why it changed this year round. I guess probably because we led in more to the fact that we were the podcast rather than the actual review outlet itself. So I can understand why they sort of went with that. I mean, getting the creator pass itself wasn't exactly a hassle. It was quite easy, so long as you actually were very communicative with them and actually provided the links that you were supposed to. Yes, Kiley. But yeah, it was pretty decent, I guess. And based on how it's been the last couple of times round, where I've had a look at the press lounge, this time around it's just a tiny little area tubbed off to the side of a quiet area, and it's kind of a bit crap. So, and I mean, last time it was also very dingy, not exactly good, and you look around in there and the press are sort of very despondent about it, because the Creator Lounge is actually a lot better than what the press lounge is. I'm not saying the press should get proper privileges, but they probably should have a lounge just a little bit better in fitting for who they are, I guess. But hey, I've got no complaints about it so far. Being a creator this time around makes more sense anyway.
Yep, I have to agree. So, what are my impressions? Well,
I was going to get to that, but
yeah. I'm leading the witness.
Objection.
Overruled.
That's not this game. So to me, first convention I've been to in the UK, this side of the UK. It is
Insomnia Dublin doesn't count, that's Ireland. Republic of Ireland. If you called that the UK, they'd kill you.
This is true. But I've been to a few. But Belfast has very tiny little venues. So this is quite a large venue for me. I think it's laid out reasonably well. I feel like the education area has been kind of somewhat neglected, or maybe it was just not strategically placed, disappointingly, because I think there's been some really good info from this side, and that's not really being attended to. But outside of that, the main hall with the games has been amazing. Now, if you are, maybe crowd phobic, people phobic, I don't know, you might not love it. I love it because I love people, but they do provide a quiet zone, but actually, okay, so the quiet zone wasn't that quiet.
We wanted to go and record it in there, and it turned out it was probably louder than the actual Creator Lounge.
So if that tells you anything, the education area is where we're recording right now.
On a table that we've dragged to a quiet corner.
Yes. But we also noticed there was like a smoking area, and I don't know if anybody even smokes anymore. So I think that if you could chill out, you could chill out there.
Yeah, I've seen people out there. So
Yeah.
Probably a vaping area as well.
Yeah, I'd say there's probably more vapors than smokers.
So that's cool, except it did start raining, and now I'm very cold. But
only we would come on a gaming podcast and Kylie would talk about the weather.
When we're indoors all day, not getting seen daylight.
You know what though? I was waiting for Pete by the restrooms. Oh, also there's plenty of restrooms, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
And it was raining outside, and the ceiling was leaking, and it leaked on my head. I didn't like that.
Was that in the creator toilets, or was that in
No, the main ones.
Oh.
Yeah, and I looked, and there's actually leaking in two places.
Not good.
Yeah,
I mean,
not happy about that.
randomly, they had a window open in the male toilets. Not sure why.
Well, I can think of a few reasons.
I can. I mean, you have air fresheners in there and a window open.
Because everyone likes to hear men weeing, clearly.
That's it.
That's what it is.
It's an interactive experience. But I have to say, I only went to the main women's toilet, but because I definitely wasn't checking out the men's. But it was very clean, and I'm mean, for it being a toilet, I really enjoyed it.
You notice we've covered more about the facilities and the toilets than actual games so far.
Yeah, we haven't got games. So I do have one more complaint.
Well, hang on, I want to know the score of the toilet.
Oh, okay. So if we're scoring out of 10, I would give the toilets here an 8.5. Maybe a little bit more air pressure.
Best toilets I've ever been to. 2 out of 10. 2. Yeah.
Number 2. Anyway.
I give it 1 because that's all I used it for.
Yes, we're quite tired. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to complain about, because this is my opportunity to complain, and I'm not complaining, I'm just joking, sort of, except that they didn't have anything gluten-free, and I'm starving.
Yeah,
that is a little bit disappointing.
I'm going to say the food options here are a lot less because there was obviously there's a bar which is still here, which is the guys from the loading bar. If you know the gaming bars, Jimmy and his team provide that, which is great. They have a sandwich, tea, coffee thing, which is ridiculously overpriced for everything. So thank God there's stuff in the Creator Lounge as well. But they had a burrito and an Indian stand last time, and they're not here. So it's either sandwiches or nothing.
Nothing.
In your case, Kylie, you literally got nothing.
I had a packet of corn nuts.
Wow.
And I'm starving right now.
Only imagine.
Now, I will say that I did take a peek out the window, where it was raining, and there were food trucks where it was raining.
Yeah.
I had no interest in walking in the cold rain where it was raining to get to the food trucks. So that's a no point. Nil points.
Yeah, that is the one thing that is slightly disappointing with the fact that they've moved over from the tobacco docks to here, is that there isn't as much facilities to actually have food vendors. I know they had them last year, but there's not as many. No. And you find that when the tobacco docks, they had them all outside.
Yeah, and they've got
actually
that pub.
It was really good.
They've got that pub there as well.
The pub was fantastic.
A new edition before.
And my goodness, people, we are gamers. We need food.
Yeah.
And energy drinks. Where are the energy drinks?
Yeah, where's the G Fuel?
Other energy drinks are available.
I know.
We need our gamer fuel. Okay, now to the true reason we're here, which is free stuff. No.
Yes. Free stuff. We've got lots of free stuff.
There's a few things.
They are taking care of their creators because we got lots of cool stuff. But I'm really joking. What we're actually here is to talk about games and all the games that we have each tried. Now, remember, this is the first day of 3, so it may sound like a limited run, but it's not, because it's 3 full days. We will start with Mags. Now, Mags, much like ourselves, we had scheduled gaming sessions.
Yeah, we did.
Which was good because it allowed us to talk to the developers and the PR people and stuff like that, which again is kind of a little advantage for being in the press or in the creators. So, but they're still quite open and would talk to anyone, if you could get them to talk. So, Max, what games did you try this today?
Okay, so let's go for the ones that I didn't have booked and scheduled. So I very quickly dashed over to the Devolver stand, which probably is one of the biggest stands in the show. They've got...
It should be. I mean, they're one of the biggest indie developers, publishers out there, aren't they?
Yeah, and they've got quite a bit of stuff that's literally just come out or is about to come out. So first thing off the list was Cult of the Lamb. Well, you're probably saying, well, that's not a new game, but they've got a brand new DLC for it, which is Sins of the Flesh. So promoting that, that's really cool. I went straight on to Children of the Sun, which came out 2 weeks ago, which is like the puzzle sniper game, where you have to line up your shots and ricochet shots to each people's heads in time. I quite enjoyed that. I'm going to lie, I got to play 3 or 4 levels of that. That was all right. The big one for me on their stand, I've yet to try Anglerfoot, which I have seen people play, but I will endeavour to play that first thing tomorrow morning because the queues for that are probably the biggest one. Yeah. But Pepper Grinder, which came out 3 weeks ago, or started this month, is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's a great little platform/puzzler game.
We might as well just talk about that ourselves now because we've all played it, haven't we? And very thoroughly enjoyable game actually.
I do have to say, Mags had the trailer on his show 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. And I admit, watching the trailer didn't interest me. And actually we have a little video about it later, but I'm kind of over the 8-bit style. It's just a fad that's outlived its welcome with me personally. Some people really live and die by that style. I'm over it, except the gameplay in this was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was so much fun, and it was not a difficult learning curve. And in fact, once me and Pete both actually figured out the
dash move,
it improved exponentially.
Yeah.
So yes, do you want to go more in depth?
Yeah, I'm sort of with you on that one. The 8-bit, 16-bit aesthetic sort of seems to have overplayed its welcome a little bit. Like, it seems like every indie game wants to have that sort of appeal. Especially Devolver, it seems to be their bread and butter, which, okay, you can't really argue with. They seem to have created a market out of it. I feel it's starting to age, and we probably should start advancing towards the 32 and the 64-bit sort of style of everything, except not as polygonal.
Or, just now.
All that too. Yeah. But yeah, very, very enjoyable game, very tight platforming, like really fun, not puzzles, but sort of like flow-based momentum, sort of
I think
movement. It was
like a puzzle. It's like Pete saying it's a platformer, but the biggest standout for me was, because this happens to me a lot, I get frustrated with games and then I put them down and I don't want to come back to them. I don't have time for that, no patience. I didn't get frustrated with this.
No.
I kept messing up, and it was still fun.
Yeah.
It flowed perfectly, and there was a reward system to it because there were little collectibles and stuff.
Yeah, there's little gems that you can pick up along the way. There's coins and medals and that. So there's definitely a completionist aspect to this. So you definitely can go through and sort of go. You can play it at your own leisure. You can play it just have fun or complete the levels, or you can go through and try and collect every collectible. So this is definitely one that I'm probably going to pick up. Actually, I'd heard a lot of things about this said on other podcasts, and obviously TNGC had also covered it, and I can't say I'd seen the game before, but now playing it, I'm absolutely sold. I'll probably pick this up on the Switch because it seems like the perfect game to pick up and play a level here and there when I'm either on a journey or on a lunch break.
Yeah. Well, so Mags, what about you? Is this something you're going to definitely pick up in the future?
Pepper Grinder, 100%.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Ever since it was on the show, it got rave reviews, and I was just like, this is my kind of thing. So this kind of, just ticks all the boxes.
Okay. What I think we'll do now is we'll just let Mags run through his games.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just
and if we've played the same thing, we'll discuss it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay,
no worries. So I literally tried a game called Pieced Together, which is basically like a scrapbook game. If you think of games like A Little to the Left and stuff like that, it's very similar to that. I had a little go on that literally about half an hour ago. That's quite a good fun little puzzle game. I managed to get on Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip, which is absolutely batshit crazy. You play this really bizarre character who's in a job centre, and they're basically saying, well, what job do you want? I don't want a job, I want a car. And they were like, no, if you get a job, you can buy a car. No, I want a car. And they basically said, well, we can make you a taxi driver. And he goes, do I get a car then? And they go, yeah. So then you get this car, and then you go zooming off around this city on this adventure. I'm not quite sure what the game is yet. It was obviously a demo. They were broadcasting the Steam Next Fest demo. But the humour in it and the way it runs, like he sat in the job centre, and the guy's like, oh, hi, you sound like you've got it all figured out what you want to do. And he says, maybe we should swap phone numbers. And he goes, all right, what's your number? And he goes, 1. And he goes, is that it? And he goes, yes. And he goes, well, I think I'll remember that then. And that's it. It's just got that sort of sense of humour. So that was cool.
I didn't realise that was a super rare game. I actually am going to give that a try.
I didn't, and I know that a couple of there's a game next to it which is a sequel. Grapple Dog was a game that came out about 2 years ago, and the sequel's there, and I need to get on that. So hopefully tomorrow I'll jump on that one because I loved the first one. In terms of the ones that I played more in depth, obviously a game that I first saw at EGX last year, and I've got a newer demo out, is Pine Hearts, which is this beautiful game about this person reliving their childhood and going to this park in Scotland. It's based in Scotland.
Oh, right.
But it's got this very sort of Legend of Zelda kind of over-the-top thing where you solve the puzzle and help the campers and do that because you want to get to the top of this mountain while unlocking these memories. It's super sweet. The team that put it together, Hyperliminal Games, are wonderful. No release date as yet, but the game's coming on leaps and bounds, and I love that. And then the other one I got to try was from the wonderful people at PCube, and they've got a Nano Apostle. I didn't know what to expect from this because I wasn't quite sure what this was, but god damn is it so good but so rage-inducing. It is basically oh my god, it's just like games like Liza P and Dark Souls, but if it was a top-down pixel game like Smash TV, and it's wave after wave after wave of bosses. And even in the demo, I thought I'd finished the demo just to be told, oh no, you've only got past the first bit of this one thing, and I was like, because there was a moment where I was like, yes, because it took me 5 attempts to do it, and then to find out that I hadn't completed it. I really like the look of that, and that's due out sometime this year. I've not got a set date, but a big shout out to my friends at PQ.
So I sat down and played this as well. This is actually one of the appointments that we did have for today, and I had the exact same experience. I was literally sat there like rage-inducing, going, I'm going to do this, I'm not going to let it defeat me. And then got through the first part of it after about 5 or 6 different attempts. Finally figured out the pattern of which the boss was happening. I put the pad down and everything, going, I've done it. And then they go, no, you haven't. And I was like, oh yeah, the second part. And I'm like, I'm not going to lie, I literally came away from that booth going, fuck, I thought I was going to be him.
It was like 5 times harder when it got into the next bit, and I was just like...
And it was called a boss, what was it?
Boss rush game.
Yeah,
boss rush game, which I've never heard of.
Yeah, so basically the concept of boss rush is there are no actual levels, there are only boss fights, and it's one boss after another boss after another boss. But you go back to a hub, which is your base, to upgrade and learn more moves, so that actually you learn from their things, so you just keep going back and back again until you actually kill them.
Yeah, essentially Cuphead, when it was originally revealed, was supposed to be a boss rush game.
And then they added a couple of
platforming elements, but very, very fun. This is definitely on my radar for later on in the year. I'm not sure what platforms it's coming out to, but I'll be keeping an eye on it regardless, because it is fantastic.
I think with PQ, they tend to release stuff on PC and then it goes out to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, generally, so I would have thought that if it comes out on PC this year, you'll probably see it on consoles maybe next year sometime.
Yeah, I would think so. Any others that you played?
I was just having a quick look, but I think
We've got about 10 minutes.
I think I pretty much covered mine today. There's probably some I'll jump back on that I'm not quite.
Okay, so Kylie, I want to jump to you because there was one game that you played that I want you to talk about.
The one that I wanted to play so badly?
Which was the Holy Gosh Darn.
Oh, so...
Which is a Yogscast game.
Okay, so Yogscast, I really generally like a lot of their games they put out. Because they're silly and they're stupid, and I like silly and stupid. And there is this one particular character, Death, although he's called Azrael or whatever. But he's funny. He's like a skateboarding Grim Reaper, and he's kind of witty and funny. And the last game he was in, I forgot the name of the game, but you have to make the guy move because he's dead. Make him not be dead. And it's hilarious, and it cracked me up. I sat down to play this. Art style's the same, humor's the same. This was not a good game to bring to something like WASD because it was not a demo. It was the entire game, which meant that I had to sit through me most impatient person in the world had to sit through a 5-minute intro where I got to maybe make 3 button presses.
It was funny because I was sitting there doing the recording of it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm recording. Oh, there's no gameplay. Okay, I'll stop." And then the one moment you had gameplay, I wasn't even recording for.
Yeah. So this may be a great game, but it's not. It's not a demo.
No.
It's not playable. It's a quick time event almost type thing.
Fair enough.
And then I think we did Outrage.
We did, yeah. So I'll describe Outrage. Outrage Fight Fest is essentially a 4-player brawler, much in the vein of things like Power Stone. If anyone played that on the Dreamcast, of course. The concept of this is actually that it's got more of a battle royale sort of element to it. So I think it's up to 16 players, but obviously the demo only had 4 players.
Yep.
It's got a lot of interactive environments, so you can take things out, you can throw people into them to then create weapons out of them. It's very basic, very simplistic, but I actually thought the combat was actually more deep than it should have been.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I liked the combat. It was a misnomer because it said everything in the environment is usable. No, it's not.
Not technically, not until because you grow in size actually, and then some of the bigger environmental pieces you can pick up and use later on when you grow in size.
But you know what I was gonna say. But the thing that stood out to me was that the battle royale factor was unnecessary. It didn't add anything to the game. In fact, I'd say it took away. Just being a brawler was good enough.
Need to start making our way.
Yep, no problem.
So
yeah, we'll run through this
and
pretty
I think,
quick.
yeah.
So, so the last couple of games that we did play is me and Kiley, we played through Alien Hominid HD and Invasion.
Which we will talk more about tomorrow because I do want to talk about that.
We will, but then I also played Starship Troopers, Terran Command, Raising Hell, which was the challenge mode, and it's an RTS, and I didn't understand the controls for it, and
it wasn't intuitive.
Holy crap, it was tough.
And
it
wasn't witty.
It wasn't the most intuitive game, but it also didn't have the charm and the wit of what Starship Troopers should have. So, but yeah, that's day one, essentially. So,
in a nutshell.
Yeah, do you want to wrap this up quickly?
I will wrap this up because we will have a little bit more in the games that we played today in depth, and then of course we'll be playing more games tomorrow. And who knows, maybe they'll magically have gluten-free, very cheap food tomorrow. And it won't rain, and the bathrooms will still be really good.
But we've also got the launch of the arcade game that I completely forgot.
Very looking for the Arcade Paradise.
Arcade Paradise in VR.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to the launch party.
So we're going to go to the launch party for that tomorrow, so there will be something about that probably on day 3, but we'll talk about that as we come. So
thanks for joining us. We will see you and talk to you tomorrow. I said see.
So this next part will be day 2's events, obviously. So after an evening, as you say, Kiley had stayed up in London. She'd booked herself a hotel to stay there. I made my way after the event had finished, so not a late finish for me. So I ended up getting back home probably about 8 o'clock in the evening, but then had an early start the next morning at 7 a.m. to make my journey across to London again. This time just myself, so earphones in tow. Walked across the bridge as I do, and went and met with Kiley, and for day 2. I won't talk about too much about what we did on day 2 because obviously we've got a recording for that which you can listen to now.
Howdy, folks! It is I, Kiley Wild, here with. Well, actually, let's go back a bit. Day 2 of WASD. And we're a little bit less tired, maybe. But I'm here with my ever-present co-host, Pete Beckett.
Hello.
Middleagedgamerguyuk.
hello.
And the boys from Retro Gaming.
Revival.
That's the one. Hello.
We're going to leave that in. Retro Gaming Revival. That way you get to hear their podcast name twice. And now you remember it forever.
Free advertising. Thank you.
Yes, there you go. Yes. So day 2, we talked about, or day 1, we talked about games that we played. We talked about the atmosphere. We talked about the bathrooms. We talked about the food that was available and not available. But now we're going to continue on and keep talking about games while everyone around me gets a selfie.
So professional, Wags. Come on.
Great. Yes. I'm so glad Pete's editing this.
I'm not.
But yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start just like I did yesterday. I'm going to start with the guys from the Retro Gaming Revival. Was there a standout game for you guys today?
Today. We actually played way more games today than we did yesterday.
Right, so did we?
Stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Just before we were chatting, like Children of the Sun was ridiculously good. What was the one that can see the game right in front of us on the...
Kind Hearts.
Man, I think we both walked away from that going, that was really nice. We go for a snooze right now.
Yeah, because we've all played it. Let's talk about it a little bit more. I
Okay.
said the exact same thing. The music was making me very sleepy, and the game is utterly incredible.
Yeah.
Like really, really fun, really interesting like concept to it. And
nice
yeah,
and joyous.
it was very chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they turned the heating up while we were playing it. Also, we just eaten lunch. Also, the music was good. Also, I just need a nap. I just need a nap. I just need a nap. I think the game helped with that. You played it yesterday.
Yes.
And did we talk about it yesterday?
We did briefly, yeah.
Okay, I don't remember yesterday.
I'm a big fan of that game anyway, and it's the second time I've played it at 2 different shows. So, gets a big thumbs up from me anyway.
Yep, absolutely.
Give it 2 thumbs up.
That you can totally see on this audio experience. It's,
Good if Max was taking selfies.
there you go. Yes, it's an audio and visual experience if you combine the two. But yes, continuing on. Any others that stood out?
I want to get the right name of the game right. It was the game with Chrome. Something Chrome or the Pro something. The PlayStation 1 sort of graphical style. Felt very sort of like PS1 Resident Evil 3D graphics. The control system on that had a system where when you went to go get your gun out, it was then you moving the crosshair around with an analog stick.
Was it Conscript?
Sorry?
Conscript?
No.
Oh, because you're going to talk about that.
We will in a bit, yeah.
It sounds very similar to that one.
I'm trying to look up the name of the game, so I don't want to not mention the actual name of it. But no, that was really good, and it had a very good PS1 art style to it.
Right.
And that was really good.
I did notice that seems to be the trend this year. They're going more from 8-bit to almost PS1 era. I'm not sure if I like it. I don't know, because I lived through the PS1 era and I wanted to go forward.
Yeah, I've tried going back to it. It's not one I try to go back to very frequently.
Yes.
Go back to
Of course.
modern controls.
Yes, that's what it is. I prefer the modern controls. Yes, that's it, 100%.
The one thing actually that was good in that game was the camera, which you can control really well.
See.
Oh,
The
good.
3D
love
isometric
that.
PS1 game suffered from
Yes.
was fixed cameras
Yes.
where you couldn't move around more easily, but this allowed you to pan the camera around.
Oh, I like
The camera was
that.
much
Yeah.
nicer.
Yeah, see, I'm happy we could stick with PS1 graphics. I love it. As long as we can control that stupid dang blasted camera.
Yeah.
So any luck on remembering what game that is?
Still getting through it. I don't have the crow in it. Is the crow.
We'll leave you to figure out what.
Crow Country. Crow Country.
Crow Country.
Okay,
Who-
right.
which here's the-
SFB games.
Okay, I'm telling you.
There's crow in the name. Yeah, no, that was, and it is a nice sort of horror vibe to it.
Right.
And jump scary. So I did actually give me a little bit of a jump scare when some spiders jumped out of it. So
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Well, that's me out.
Oh yes.
Eat Rally.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not just racing car game. That also phenomenal.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Addictive.
Play that.
Yeah, I played a small amount of it, tried to do the time trial, and went, I'm not beating this time, I am not carrying.
For a little while.
Yeah, and now I'm not even on the leaderboard.
Oh.
You must have played it early then.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll come in first thing tomorrow and I'll be number 1. For 3 seconds. Well, no, 1 minute. Because that's how long it takes to play the game. But I do actually very, very much enjoy that game. I like the aesthetic of it. Like I said yesterday, it's pink, and pink is the best color. But it's also very, very reminiscent of a game I played as a kid, and I can't remember what it's called. It's on the Nintendo, and not Rad Racer, but it's like Rally Racer or something. Maybe it is Rad Racer.
I think it is Rad Racer.
Oh, okay.
It's very similar to Rad Racer by the looks of it.
We'll say that then. It reminds me of Rad Racer.
Yeah.
I knew it the whole time. But, so I enjoyed that. Pete enjoyed it. Max, did you get to play it yet?
Yeah, I literally played it this afternoon.
Oh.
Which is cool. Yeah, I thought it was all right.
Typical.
I don't know, because it was just a time trial. It didn't really give me a good feel of the game, to be honest. So,
Yes, that's true.
I
That
agree,
is
yeah.
So, yeah, it's all right. So I'm not saying it's bad, I'm not saying it's good.
I'll be interested to see what it's like on
Yeah,
full
like
release.
full
Obviously,
game.
like what the campaign's going to be like for it, unlocking all the tracks.
It did make me laugh though because it says Daytona, and all I could hear was you going Daytona.
That was the first thing I thought of.
So, yes, any other standouts from the day?
There probably are many.
I was going to say all of them.
Today, I played it yesterday.
Yeah.
That was Rhythm Towers.
Oh, right, okay, I
Really
saw
good
that.
fun, actually. It's a really unique game. I've not played anything like it.
Right.
You go to like a base, and then there'll be an into like a rhythm game. You have to like push the buttons in.
Yes.
Sort of, dance match style.
Yes.
Rap on the rapper kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the better you did, the better the tower that they then built. And then as enemies came out, you would build like a fire tower or build like a resource tower. You'd have to like dance and do a rhythm game in order to build it.
I like
And
that.
then they'd be dropping musical notes that look your resources to then build the next tower. So it's like tower building, but with a rhythm dance game
I love that.
mixed into it. So it's a really unique sort of mixture of games as well.
Very true.
Frantically on the list. Lunar Abyss.
Yes, okay, that caught my eye. How was it? We didn't get to it today.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really cool. It's sort of a mixture of a little bit puzzly, a little bit first person.
Oh, yeah.
But it
That
just,
sounds like you.
That's the look.
Two of my favorite.
The art style of it is excellent, isn't it? It's like it's very dark, but then the light is like red lights. It's like the red lighting in the dark atmosphere. It was really good.
So not the Virtua Boy.
Nobody wants to remember that.
But we all are forced to.
graphically, it's so impressive.
Yeah.
Like, we're looking at it like this looks like AAA at points, and you're like, it's like 3 or 4 people. You're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Definitely, we'll be hitting that one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. Max, what about for you today? Anything?
So I said I wanted to play Angerfoot, and it was the first thing I went on.
Yes.
Yeah, I think all three of us did, didn't we?
Yeah, it was everything that I wanted out of that game. I had to stop myself at 5 levels because I don't know when the demo finished.
Right.
So I got so far on it and just went, that'll do for me now. I'll wait until the game's over. It's violent, it's ridiculous, it's everything a good action game that's not actually a first-person shooter should be. And the fact that you can actually throw your gun in someone's face to then pick it back off them and reload it is a mechanic that I very much like.
Yeah.
So yeah, that hit the notes for me straight away.
Yeah, because we all played it this morning, like I said, and I didn't have as much of a good time with it.
Oh, okay.
I felt like the demo itself, and some of this might be down to me as well, it's keyboard and mouse. I can't do keyboard and mouse.
Yeah,
I'm terrible. I'm a console gamer. And when you did try and set it, Kylie, the mouse sensitivity was so low. The turn circle was quite hard, quite challenging for it. So I think with a few more tweaks, it could be a really good game because I see a good concept in there. It's just in delivery, like for the demo itself, for me, it just didn't work. But I can see the angle of it being very, very fun.
Well, I played it too, and first, right off the bat, it reminded me of Duke Nukem 3D. It had that same kind of
silly vibe. And then also, every time I play any kind of first-person shooter, I don't know why, but I always check the bathrooms. I don't know why. And this did not fail to disappoint. It had the toilets with pixelated, waste, and then one of the guys, you kicked him off the toilet, and his bum was pixelated, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
I showed Pete one where I kicked the door into the guy, and he was sitting on the toilet, and it pixelated his penis, which
Yay!
I'll never be able to erase from my mind, but it makes me want to buy that game even more now.
Well,
Just to see if there's no pixelation.
Some more pixelation.
I'll tell you what I did. Because I think it was the computer that specifically Pete and I were on. The mouse sensitivity was crap. So I remapped the gun and the kicking to the mouse button. So I just went through kicking and shooting the whole entire time. And it got me quite far, and I enjoyed it very much. But then the mascot for the game, the in real life mascot, came and just like slammed his foot on the table next to me.
Whilst you had your headphones on.
I had my headphones on, and I thought, I'm going to die now, thank you. And I looked at him, and I said, that was incredibly terrifying, and he gave me a thumbs up. So, right there should tell you the tone of this game. Have you two got to play it yet?
No, it's
Okay.
it was a bit of a queue, wasn't it?
Yes.
We've mostly been opportunistic as to what we've done. Like done a little loop.
Yes.
If there's stuff with a short queue or no one there,
Yep.
just jump on it.
Yeah.
It's identical to what we've done today.
We got in the doors early this morning, so we were the first off in it. So if you can, beeline for it first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
It is. It does have that silly Duke Nukem 3D vibe, old style first-person shooter. But the humor's just.
And the soundtrack's back
Oh
as well.
yeah.
It was fun.
It is Devolver. We should probably mention that.
Yeah, whilst we were on Devolver, me and Kylie played
Okay.
a game just before this. We played Cricket Through the Ages.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Oh my god, I have not laughed so much playing a game in my life. It is ridiculous fun.
That is a
So much
co-op
fun.
game. Don't play it solo.
Yeah, so it's all ragdoll physics, sort of like Mount Your Friends is like similar. Like
And Birdie or whatever it was called, Quick Speed, the one where you had to make the guy run.
yeah, so it basically details how cricket has evolved through the ages from prehistoric age all the way through to when they refined it, and then and you're just playing against each other like a dinosaur taking one person out and then throwing cricket balls at each other. It is so stupid, but it is incredibly fun. It's probably my game of the show so far because I've not laughed so much playing a game before.
It was.
It was like, and we stood around like watching the next people, and they were exactly the same, just absolutely dying with laughter whilst they were playing it. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
It controls badly as you
On
sort of
purpose,
expect,
on purpose.
but it's on purpose. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very
The
interesting.
ragdoll deaths are hilarious.
Yeah. So I'd recommend giving it a try whilst you're here if you want something that's just going to be a bit of a palate cleanse, just to yeah.
Yeah. And what about Mags? What else did you play today?
Next big game that I quite liked was a game called Odinfall.
Right, we didn't get to that. Yeah.
That's kind of like, again, a roguelike game, and I'm not normally that into roguelike dungeon crawlers, but it seems to tick the boxes because it's that sort of, if they're done well, it can be really good, and it's got that Enter the Gungeon vibes about it, and it was just very easy to pick up and play, and I really enjoyed that. I'll do a couple more that I'm just going to quickly whip off. Himble Ventures, which is like a rare / Playtonic, even though it's not made by them, platformer-esque of Banjo-Kazooie and ukulele. However, what differentiates it is you have 4 different health bars, and it's all to do with people with neurodiversity. And basically, if there's a spiky object, that hurts like your touch senses. If something's too bright, it's your bright sense. If there's something's too loud, and you've got to balance out all the things to be able to get through the levels. It looks all cute and fancy, but it's really, really cleverly thought out, which sets it apart from other platformers.
Amazing.
And I will give a shout out to. Oh my god! So I want to give a shout out to Sleepy Time Village.
Right.
It's a 30-minute demo.
Wow, okay.
Due to come out Halloween of 2025.
Right, okay.
That's quite a while away then.
Again, literally one guy making the game.
Yes.
And it's a point-and-click adventure, which I think is going to have, let's just say, probably not a happy ending, because the way it starts out, you're kind of thinking, this is going to be a very dark story, but the way that it then leads into this thing of like, oh, you're in a children's, like, feels like you've been dropped into the middle of the Teletubbies thing, and it's like you've got a narrator in it, and it's very sort of, it's got that Stanley Parable-esque thing that someone's talking to you and you're talking back, but then when you go back into memories, the thing saying, well, that's not how that happened, was it? So that makes me think that you're blocking out some horrible trauma. So I'm not going to say what it is, because I think I've already may have figured it out.
Well, I'll ask this without leading and without any spoilers. Is it reminiscent of the Edith Finch Tales of Edith Finch?
Not in the style of the game, but
the bait and switch.
Yeah,
the most depressing game probably ever made.
Yeah, that game actually made me cry. I don't think I've ever cried on stream. That actually made me cry.
I was terrible.
But yeah, it's got that essence.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And then I'm just going to very quickly say there was a game like literally I was talking to one of the devs online. Which is called Whisper Mountain Outbreak.
Ooh.
And it's again sort of very PS1-y pixel game, top-down thing, but you can change the angles, which is cool on it. But they basically said we took elements from all the different horror games like Dead Rising, Resident Evil, because you combine herbs to get food, and there's those yellow crates with the tape round that you smash. But it's a puzzle game with action elements by heart, and I probably played a good 20 minutes of that, and the guy was like, oh, you survived 5 hordes, because there's like hordes, waves of hordes, but it's not a horde mode game, if that makes sense. They just randomly appear. They said most people die after the second, so woo,
nice. Haha, in your face.
So yeah, those are my top picks for today.
Excellent. We're gonna just rattle these off, and you guys, if something bloops, just go for it. Just jump in. We just got done playing Conscript, which has been it's been catching my eye the whole time because it's my whole vibe and everything like that. It's Team 17. We sat down to play it. Immediately reminds me of Metal Gear Solid and Fallout.
Well, I'd say the original Metal Gear, right?
Oh yeah. Let's go back. I'm talking about the original Metal Gear Solid and the original Fallout. The graphics are on point for that era, but it kept something from that era that pisses me off to this day. It's the aiming system, which is a 2-trigger aiming system, which in and of itself I'm not the biggest fan of, which I've actually seen on a couple of games lately, but it wasn't like aim, pull the trigger, and shoot. You had to aim, wait for it to lock onto the thing that you're aiming, and then shoot. And by then, if you've got a moving target, it's coming towards you, and you have to do all this guesswork. I'm not that great at estimating distances. And so, it's like 95% a cool game that I would totally play. 5%, I hate the aiming. No.
Can I just say, if it makes you feel better, at no point did I realise that you could actually use melee weapons.
Yes.
And therefore didn't even get through the first part of the game because I had nowhere to go. So I spoke to the dev guy and he was like, oh, you realise you just right and click and swing the shovel. And I went, yeah, but it never told you to do that.
It doesn't tell you to. This is a good point.
I ended up giving up on the game, unfortunately, because
this is a very valid point that Max has brought up, because I got stuck there, not because I figured out that the wooden slats or whatever needed to be.
You did better than me then.
But I couldn't get it lined up. I couldn't.
I did
a call.
Yeah, I took a call, but they came back and I was like...
I'm still going, ka-chink, ka-chink. And then I'm like, I'm done. And I hit it and it...
Well, yeah, because I said that you needed to get closer.
And I'm like, but the reticle's not on the thing.
But if you got too close, it would trigger the dialogue, so you had to be just an imperfect
See, I'm too impatient. I'm too impatient for that.
Right.
I need...
shall we talk about super rare games, the 2 games that we played for them?
Yes, because I forgot what they are.
So we had Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Go and play it. Fantastic.
The humor is spot on.
Yeah, Max talked about this yesterday, so we won't go too much into depth for the listeners. But yeah, I would recommend going to play it. It's very charming. It's very, very funny, and it's. You turned it into GTA somehow.
I didn't actually follow the game plan because, of course, I didn't. The goal is kind of. I'm just very quickly rehashing what Max said yesterday, which is you're at a job center and you want a car. You just want a car. And the guy's like, do you want a job to get the car? And then you have some dialogue tree and then it branches off. I was bored, so I just kept hitting. I was like, too much talking, more action. So I missed a lot of the jokes, but gladly already knew them. Anyway, so you get a car, a taxi. Your first thought is, oh, this is going to be crazy taxi. You know, it has to be. I mean, what are you going to do? It isn't that. I really don't know how to describe what it is.
It's an open world game.
Okay. All I know is that I took my little taxi and I drove over people and it was fun. And then I found a metal pipe and beat a few people with it. That's fun.
And then you told me to keep doing that
keep
as well
doing it.
for some reason.
There's a list of objectives, but most of them weren't achievable because it was a demo version. And so I'm like, F the demo, let's have our own fun, let's make our own trail, and I turned it into GTA 6.
Which is fine.
With child graphics.
But yeah, it was very fun. I'm more excited about the actual full release so that I can play a lot of the missions and see how it goes. The other game from Super Rare was Grapple Dogs Cosmic Canines. This is a 2D platformer that's very reminiscent of like your Mega Mans, your Marios, Sonics. You know, it's very momentum based, but it's so charming.
Well,
it's very fun. It's tight mechanically, and platformers are my kind of thing. It's right up my alley. I am playing this day one when it comes out. This was my game of the show until we played cricket for the ages, but it's so much fun. I will be keeping my eye out for this one.
I have to say, as a person who doesn't have the patience to learn different button combinations fighting games, the controls on this game are absolutely perfectly intuitive. It's one button does this, another button does this. You don't have to switch between them. A little bit, but not too bad. And it's just fun. It's much like the Pepper Grinder game that we talked about yesterday. Just fun. Absolutely.
Yeah, it really was. So one of the other games that we did play, I've just got to see, is Slope Crashers.
Oh, that's the first one. That was my game of the day. Yes.
So Slope Crashers is a snowboarding game that's very reminiscent of like your SSX Cool Borders or 1080.
It's Cool Borders.
But it's very strange in the fact that it's got boosting and items like Mario Kart.
Yeah. Right. Cool Borders with Wave Runner mixed with Mario.
A bit of Burnout as well, like with the boosting.
And they're little cute animals.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a strange combination of games by the sounds of it, but it's tight, it's really fun, it plays incredibly well. Like as a multiplayer game, this will be fantastic. If they've got an online like component to it, even better, but who knows if they are going to. But even just as a party game playing with a few mates at your house, it will be perfect. It's a great little fun time. We did 3 runs on it.
Yeah, I just kept
We just couldn't jump off it. It was just really fun.
Like I'm not good at racing games, but I just think they're fun. I just think they're neat. So I think on the third run, Pete was well done. I think he come in like 3rd place or whatever, and it's out of 8. I was definitely in 8th place. I still was playing for another minute, but I was having the time of my life. So he's just sat at the finish line, you know, and I'm like, woo, I'm spinning. So fun game, even if you're the loser. You're not really. Everyone's a winner when they play this game. Yes. They're just as shiny as first place.
So final game for us. This was played yesterday, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it because we were being kicked out of the venue as we did so. I played Died by the Blade. This was a game that I played a couple of years ago at WASD, obviously when it was a Tobacco Dogs. It was a very, very early alpha when I played it. It was one of the games I was really interested in as a fighting game person. I'm not sold on this version, unfortunately. There's something that's happened to the game that I just don't think has translated very well in the development time. The buttons are very intuitive. It's not very clear how you perform moves or how you block. So a lot of it is a bit of a guessing game. So, but I do like the concept that it is a one-shot kill sort of game because it's all blade combat, so it sort of makes sense in terms of the aesthetic. But I just think it needs a bit more time to be worked on. I'm interested to see how much further it does go, but yeah, concept is probably better than the actual delivery, unfortunately. That's a shame.
Yeah, especially that's fighting games.
That's so good.
Yeah, so is there any other games that you guys played that you wanted to talk about?
So I quite enjoyed, this one surprised me, it was the Alien the Humanoid Invasion.
Oh yes, that's what I wanted to talk about yesterday. Yes.
So from just looking at the graphics, it's like, this looks like it might be fun. I didn't expect it to be completely bonkers crazy, like the whole run. And after we finished the level, I was like, I think I need to go for a lie down. It was so manic, but it was brilliant. It was in their best possible way, but it was absolutely chaotic.
It is, isn't it? As soon as you hit that start button and off you go, it's just chaos!
Yes!
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it as being as chaotic like you said, and actually it's got some really cool verticality to it with the weapons and the fact that you can shoot it at the floor and go higher into the air.
I
and
only
stuff
found
like
that on the latter half of the run-through. And I was like, I could do this. I was going above the things, putting the beams down. I was like, okay, now we're kicking. So,
Well, I guess I'll just plug you again. The first time I heard of these games was Max was streaming them, both of them in one night, and the devs were in the chat. And the original one, I can't remember the different names.
Alien Hominid HD.
Is that it?
There's Alien Hominid HD and Alien Hominid
Invasion, that's the
newer
original
one.
Oh, okay, HD is the original one.
Yes.
It was based on the Newgrounds Flash game.
Yes.
Which cracks me up because I'm old enough to remember.
Unfortunately, I think we all are.
Yep. So that one was fun and blah blah blah, and like watching Max play it was like, oh, this does feel very that time period. But then when Pete and I hopped on the Invasion, because you can co-op on it, and it was like, I guess you'd call it bullet hell. I guess. Yeah, because it's just throwing everything. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And I want to say, just for me personally, that the Behemoth, their whole team was just really a standout for us because they were very knowledgeable about the game. They were willing to help. They were in there even like before we opened our mouths. They're like, "Oh, you're a creator. I see your creator pass," and they're like shoving things in our face. Good things, not bad things. Lots of free stuff, I mean. And they just kind of took care of us from the minute we were there till we left. And I can't say anything better about that. We are getting the signal to wrap up, so let's go through anything else you need.
Probably because they're trying to clear people out for the party.
For the party. Okay.
We're going to a party, Pete. Don't edit that part.
I wasn't going to.
Okay, Paradise VR Party. Big shout out to them.
Yeah, big shout out to Y Productions.
Yes.
doing the Arcade Paradise as well, I played the bit where you go into the arcade and then there's a VR headset in the arcade. And when you put that on, it's then passed through. But then you can spawn the arcade cabinets and put them down.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
That blew my mind. It's like, this is crazy. So you can literally like build the arcade in the space around you. And
that's very cool. Yes, excellent. Well, I think that is going to wrap it up because, like I said, I don't want to piss nobody off. So this is us, second day of WASD. I don't know the date, 26th?
Yeah.
Sure. We will be back again, same bad time, same bad channel, where we will see you, no we won't, and talk to you tomorrow. Bye!
So, after the recording of day 2, we, along with the guys from the Retro Gaming Revival podcast or YouTube channel, as well as a few other content creators whose names are eluding me for some strange reason. Apologies for obviously who I missed out, but there were some very lovely people. We went out for some dinner, a couple of drinks. I didn't stay too much longer after the food because I had a journey to make back to where I live, and that was going to take a little bit of time. So I wish I kind of had stayed up in London. Would have been nice, but London is expensive and I have a house, so I can't exactly go out and spend 200 quid on a hotel for a weekend. So I decided to make my journey home, but it was a lovely evening spent with the guys from Retro Gaming Revival and the other content creators that we'd met. So apologies that I cannot remember your name. It was all a bit of a blur this weekend, so I will make sure that I find out who you are and put you into the show notes, of course. But I think after this day, a few of the next day, they were a little bit blurry-eyed because they happened to go to a pub along the way after I'd left, and it was apparently quite a late night. So, yeah, but the pizza place that we went to was just outside of, just on Brick Lane. It was called Sleazy's Pizza. I won't go into details about, obviously, the menu because the theme of it is, as you can imagine, it's very sleazy. It's very sort of XXX rated, let's say. They even had a neon light in there with a XXX on there, so some of the pizza names were very amusing to all of us childlike mentality people, but the food was good and the company was even better. So we left it there for day 2. So next up, day 3. So day 3 approaches, and this is the final day that we were there, which is the 27th of April. I have an early start again as I am making my way from where I live up to London again by train. Started a little bit earlier as one of my partner's friends had stayed for the night whilst I was out on the town in London, so kept her company for a fair bit, so thanks to that friend. So took her to work in the morning and then made my journey to London by train. This was a miserable old day, like in terms of the weather, because it was raining, it was cold, it was not overly great, and I didn't have a coat. I didn't want to take one with me to have to lug it around all day, so I just had to make do, unfortunately. So over a grey and overcast London, I made my way across London Bridge, or Tower Bridge, and along to the east end of London, back to Brick Lane, where I had met up with Andrew and Dan from Debug Magazine, as well as Daz from Did You Know Gaming, and had a quick chat with them as I grabbed my morning tea from a nice little coffee shop that was just around the corner. So wanted to say thanks to Andrew, Daz and Dan for obviously being very accommodating, very nice and very talkative in the morning. You know, they were 3 really nice guys. We've had Andrew and Dan on the podcast before. Daz from Did You Know Gaming, you know, despite being quite a large YouTuber, was very, very talkative, very accommodating. So yeah, thank you very much for the nice chat that we all had. That became a bit of a theme actually, in the fact that day 2 and day 3 I did actually speak to Andrew and Dan before we went into the show, and it was lovely. So thank you to those guys for obviously being very nice. So made our way into day 3. I managed to play a game or two before Kiley had arrived. She had arrived a little bit later, so I'm gonna put in here the recording from day 3. Apologies for this one. This was recorded in a very busy and noisy creators lounge, and this was probably one of the busiest rooms that we could find to record in, so there might be a lot of background noise and recording might be a bit difficult to hear, but I apologize for that. As you can imagine, trying to record on site at a live event and with several people going around is quite difficult. The first 2 days we managed to find a nice little quiet area towards the end of the day, but because me and Kiley were leaving a little bit earlier, we couldn't do that, as the area we'd used, which was the stage area or next to one of the career stage, was actually having a talk at the time. We didn't think it was very appropriate to do a recording at the same time. So here we are, day 3's recording.
Howdy folks, and here we are at WASD Day 3. I think it's the 27th. Is that correct, Pete?
Correct.
All right. I'm your co-host, Kiley Wild. I'm joined by my ever-present co-host, Pete Beckett.
Hello.
Middleagedgamerguyuk.
Hello.
Ranger Dan, who's giggling, and Ember. Hi. We have got a great segment for you, although we do have to make it speedy because I have a flight to catch. But we'll start with Max, as usual, my favorite. What games have you played today? What stood out? Tell us about it.
Okay, so very peculiar game called Fruit Boss by Neon Hive, where it starts with a memory of my grandma has this boss that you collect fruit and then sell the fruit from because you make smoothies or salads, like apple salads and stuff. And then jumps like 10 years into the future and it turns out the boss is derelict in the scrapyard and like, we should do one more run, we should make this business a success. So at first you think it's one of these things where it's going to be like Overcooked where you cut the food and blah blah blah, which you do, but it's more of a narrative thing, like you have to go fix up the van. So there's a little bit like a very loose Pacific Drive element to it, but it's this whole thing that you have to go to different places and find stuff and it builds a story. It's a very cute game. But what I've been meaning to play all flipping weekend was the sequel to Grapple Dog, which is Grapple Dog's Cosmic Canines, which is just superb. It's got they had 4 demo levels, 2 with the original Grapple Dog and 2 with the new Grapple Dog. I don't know how that fits into the story. I got to play one of the future levels and it's just great. It has all the mechanics that the first game from 2 years ago has, plus added a load of new mechanics, and it's just super fun to play and super easy to pick up.
Yeah, I played a little bit more of this. I played another level of it actually, and yeah, really fun, really enjoyable. Definitely on my radar to pick up and play when it does come out. And I will definitely be picking up the first game actually now to play through.
Yeah, it's definitely worth looking at. And there's one more, but I'll let other people speak and then I'll find.
No, you carry on because we've got different things we need to speak about.
Okay, all right. Well, final game. If I can quickly scoot down the list, because I am terrible at the names. There's still a couple of games I want to try later, like Rhythm Towers.
Yes.
I want to try that. But I was having a quick look at, oh my life, where's it gone? Where's Playtonic gone? Elsie. Oh, the Playtonic.
Yes, how did you find Elsie?
Really good. So, pretty much NES vibes, platform shooter game, but ticks all the boxes, puts a modern twist on it. I want to go back and play more because I think there's 2 demos. So I want to try a second one. But it seems very super popular.
Was it a Metroidvania?
I felt
that bit I don't know.
Okay.
I felt what I told Pete was that I felt like it was it had a Metroid element to it because it was a platform. I'm talking about original Metroid. But also, Pete, what's the name? I had vodka. What's the name of the dadgum game I told you was?
Castlevania?
Mega Man.
Yeah. Mega Man. That definitely didn't help.
Mega Man vibes. Welcome to Rapid Reviews.
So for those we can't see, but Emperor's literally showing her phone of something that was completely unrelated, and it's triggered her memory.
It did. It triggered a core memory. To me, it had very Mega Man vibes. Did you get that impression?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the only thing about it, first of all, visually stunning. I loved it. I loved the mechanics of it. But did you find the special moves system a bit difficult, or is that just me?
I wasn't quite sure how you were supposed to use some of the moves, but I guess with insight, because it didn't feel like you were playing a tutorial level, it was like you were chucked straight into it.
Yes.
So maybe as you play the game properly, you would learn that. Then
that's exactly what I felt.
Kind of goes with the same way with that. Was it Construct game?
Yes.
Whereas
you need to play it.
I didn't know the mechanics because it didn't explain the mechanics because you were dropped in. So I'm not going to knock that game for doing that.
Right.
With a lot of these demos that you play at this show, they're not necessarily the first levels or tutorial levels. They're levels that are dropped in somewhere halfway through the game.
Yeah.
So you can't be expected to pick up all the mechanics for it.
Yeah. So I would also recommend that.
Okay, might give it a crack actually before we leave. So there we go.
Sure.
Well, you got 45 minutes, so...
I know.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but sure, we'll go ahead. Any more games that stood out for you, Max?
No, because the last 3 games I want to get on, I haven't got a chance to get on, so I'm going to hopefully do that before the show.
Yeah.
So.
For our lovely listeners out there, we're doing this a lot earlier than we normally do, so we're kind of midday. But that means that I can ask Ranger Ted,
Who is now giggling again?
yes, and Ember. Okay, we'll start with you guys. Ember, this was your first day out of the 3.
Yes.
To the 10. Have you been to WASD before?
Yes, I went last year.
Okay.
Last September.
Yes, that is correct. Yes. How would you compare it to last year? Do you feel it's better, same?
So for me personally, last year was like the first year I started going to more events and stuff. So when I came last year, I didn't know that many people. I felt a bit almost awkward, whereas this year I've been a bit more in my element. I've been able to go to more people, find out more about like different games. So I personally find it better.
Yes.
But whether that says whether it has been better or whether that's just me sort of becoming more in my element,
Yeah. Well, I personally feel I have to agree with you because even though this is my first WASD live event, I have felt like it is amazing and great. That is not good. That was a bad selfie. Pete is taking a selfie midstream.
Max did it yesterday.
That's fine. I'm going to second what Ember has said and say that it's been a great experience. It just has. Great, Dan. What about you? How's your experience been?
You know, I came last year, obviously it's the first time I met Emma as well.
Right?
Because obviously, in the stream, I'm basically hot.
I'll take the non-vodka water, thank you.
Yeah, special water, you want some?
no, just normal water here.
No alcohol here whatsoever.
This is a rapid review stream. How dare you?
How dare you?
She says after 4 wines today.
And after 4 episodes of Happy Hour, it was nice.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, obviously I went to WASD last year, and this is the second time this year. So I usually do stuff like
Right.
and obviously you're quite the same. Well, more comfortable here and everything. It's kind of same here. I've done like EGX once as well.
Yes.
Which is obviously it was the first one after COVID, so there wasn't much, but it's still quite decent. And it's like here, it's like last year there was quite, from what I noticed this year, there's not any simulator games at all.
Yes, right. I think Arcade Paradise.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And I also
There's loads because of like Airport Sim and...
Yeah, Airport Sim last year. You had the Power Simulator DLC with the Back to the Future and SpongeBob,
yes, I love simulator games. I love SpongeBob, so. I love SpongeBob!
He doesn't love SpongeBob. It's still going on TV to this day, though.
He's amazing!
I enjoyed it this year. Just walking about. I mean,
Is there any particular game you're looking forward to, or you're just going to dive right in?
just pretty much going to dive right in.
I think that's the best way to be. Actually, that's what Pete and I ended up doing the second day. Because the first day we came with a kind of loose plan that fell completely through. And then the second day we were just like, we'll start at the top and we'll make our way through.
Fine. For some reason, Kylie actually had a plan that day.
No.
That was your idea. That's worrying.
It's terrifying. So outside of that, so how have you found, like we're not bragging. We all have creator passes.
We're currently sitting in a very loud creator lounge.
That's right. But did you have creator passes last year?
Yes.
I did, yeah.
We did, yeah.
How, and I've asked this of all the previous guests, how does that compare this year to last year? And feel free to say whatever, it's fine, it's fine.
Last year I feel it was a little bit more organised perhaps, so there was more people in the creator lounge, it felt more community focused.
Right.
This year it feels almost like kind of come and go, there's nothing really arranged.
Right.
Like it's still nice to have like that kind of hub, but it feels less focused.
Yeah.
Yes, last year the Creative Lounge was run by Dead Good Media.
That's right.
And they were like inviting quite a lot of big creators. And last year I did recognise quite a lot. Obviously this year it's done by some complete different. And
Fourth floor.
it's right there in front of us.
For context, there's a huge poster that says fourth floor. Right where we're recording in the middle of the snow.
Literally right where it says Creator Lounge.
And I'm the one that's wearing glasses, so I can
It's
find.
spicy water, you know.
Yeah, it's spicy water.
Because we're well hydrated.
Yeah, you're well hydrated on spicy water. I've got 2 more cans of Monster in my bag. I've already had 2 today.
Yes. So I also keep being told about the wonderful pizzas of last year.
They were okay.
Yeah, to be fair, when we managed to get one, it was all the vegan season. So you had one, I was like, I'm not gonna have it.
There wasn't really enough pizza for everyone, so it was kind of like a bit of a free for all.
As soon as it came out, it's literally just
There
like,
were a lot of creators last year though, so I feel maybe they weren't prepared for that many creators, and yeah.
You would think with the amount of numbers that they obviously had on the list, they would have at least taken that into account. Whereas this time around, obviously with the Arcade Paradise thing that happened last night, they actually took that into account and had shirts for every single creator and press.
We actually should talk about that. Now, remember, Ranger Dan,
Who's giggling
you guys
again?
didn't make it.
Unfortunately, no.
You didn't make it to the Arcade Paradise creator event. That's okay. But we probably should discuss that. What were your initial impressions, Max, of the Arcade Paradise VR presented by Wired Productions?
It's a bit of a funny one, really, because it was nice that they put that on for all the content creators and press. But really, what it was, here, have a free t-shirt, which they made sure everyone got a t-shirt, which was really cool. As Pete mentioned that. And a bottle of beer. And beyond that, there wasn't really anything else. Obviously, people were allowed to stay around and play the game, which was the only game open. But if you didn't know, if you were just tagged along as a creator and didn't know what's going on, you'd be like, thanks for the free t-shirt, thanks for the free beer. That's it. I was expecting someone to say, even if it was like a 30-second speech, saying, thanks so much for coming, thanks for celebrating the launch of our game. There wasn't anything like that, which I found a bit odd.
Except for the one person who came round and handed a leaflet. It was like,
I wanted to talk about that.
So that was fine. There was a guy who was coming around. Obviously, got the Wired Collective program. Am I allowed to be totally honest about it?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm a member of a number of other programs, such as obviously PQber at the show, I remember that, and Ubisoft and Epic and God knows what. And I've stayed away from Wired because it felt like the entry level for that was way too high and way too what they expected of you to be. So one of the things they said is you have to create 3 pieces of content from Wired Games before they even accept you, and then they expect you to deliver on one stream or 1 piece of content every month. Constantly. And I'm like, I'm not being funny, I'm not going to do that. And the guy came round and I said, look, I'm not being funny. That kind of put me off because I'm a member of all these other ones, and it's either, here's something you might want to consider, and you go, okay, or you go, no, and you don't get penalised for it. Whereas there it seems like you just basically get penalised for it because it states in the contract that they can just drop you any time. But this guy's like, no, we've been taking feedback and that's not necessarily true. So it's made me rethink it, and I will have a look, but it does sound like those bits of information are still on their website. But he was saying, well, we take it a case-by-case basis. And I was like, well, from my hours, you've got a lot of games that are coming out, and for what I do, I would cover that, but last year you didn't. Therefore, how would I do a piece of content once a month when you don't have new games out? Because obviously I only cover what's out that week.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like, no, I get that. And they seem to be taking the feedback on board, so I'm kind of like, I might circle back down and have a look at that.
Now, Amber, are you part of the Wired Collective?
I am. So I'm a content creator for Wired, and I I've created the odd bit of content for them, but they've never given me a sort of roadmap contract. They've never said to me, oh, you have to make 3 a month, 1 a month. It's just sort of always been like, okay, you're a creator, congrats, you know, here's your opportunities. If you want them, you can have them. If you don't, that's okay. There's never been that expectation. So
we've heard that from a couple of people.
Yeah.
That's very strange because it's not how they advertise.
Yeah.
Once you yeah, and once you get past that, whatever,
barrier.
When I signed up, I don't believe there was ever any, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. It was just kind of like, oh, you know, you're a creator, congrats, welcome, you know. If you want to make content, amazing. Which, for me, that's like, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the guy that was recruiting last night, he kind of seemed to be like, here's the requirements, which Max just went over. And then when Max and another content creator, Misty, were like, look, this doesn't work for us. All of a sudden, he was like, well, just sign up anyway. So it is a very kind of mixed message that I don't think he's getting across.
Yeah.
I do see that as a negative, sadly, and kind of reiterating what Max said, which is they didn't really make an announcement. We would not have known we were there for Arcade Paradise VR.
No. It felt
The
like
shirt doesn't reflect it.
no, it felt like it was more of a Wired Productions like thing rather than just for Arcade Paradise. But Arcade Paradise was a game that was on show here.
But see, that's the thing. Like, Pete and I for sure have been to launch parties, and both of you may have as well. Launch parties are concentrated on the game. Everyone gets to play the game. Everyone gets to try the game. You get merch about the game. Game. I didn't pick that up.
No.
I didn't pick that up. So I can't say it was a great PR.
I can't say so either. Also, they catered for those who wanted to drink beer, which is fine. Not a single soft drink anywhere in the place, or no even.
Wine or cider.
No, an attempt of an offer for a soft drink anywhere. So I sat there for nearly 2 hours just going, what can I drink?
Yeah.
Nothing. So, a little bit of a fumble on their part, I think.
I will say this, and then we'll move on quickly. A lot of people, I know myself included, we do this for networking opportunities. The problem being that we knew everybody that was there.
Yeah, or quite a few of them. Anyway.
Right, exactly. So I just don't think this was quite the victory they wanted.
No, but it was nice to
But I
have
like the
it.
t-shirt.
Yeah, the t-shirt's great. I mean, you're wearing it today.
I am.
Freebie, so
I am. Yeah, if it says free, I'm there.
Yeah, but after that we did go out and have pizza and you went out for drinks, and it was a lot more fun than actually that.
I take it on board and then make the next thing even better.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so we'll do some just very quick initial impressions and then we'll wrap up.
We have got something we need to talk about with what we've done today, haven't we? Which was the discussion, the debug discussion with
Because I was going to say, all I've done is drink. I even left the debug discussion to go get some more wine. But yes, Pete, go ahead and intro the debug discussion, which was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so Andrew and Dan from Debug were interviewing.
Great guys, absolutely.
We're interviewing the developer from Paper Trail.
They've been on our show.
Yeah, and they had a live playthrough of the game with the developer. You see,
He gave you his card, right?
he did. Okay. Yeah, so he showed us through certain sections of the game, like some of the accessibility options that they're going to have in that, and the concept of it is a really, really cool idea. Like, it's I'd say it's a puzzle platformer. I'd say walking sim. I don't know, but it's just a lot of the puzzles are centered around folding paper and like origami. So you have two sides of the page where you can sort of flip them over.
Very
and stuff
cool
like
visually.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe.
Yeah.
It's in a 3D. Well, he said 4D.
Yeah, he says 4D.
Yeah.
I guess I know what he means, really.
I guess because it's coming off the XY axis, but we won't get into that.
Yeah.
But it was like paper folding, which is just a really cool concept for this type of game. We actually spoke to the developer afterwards, very briefly, very quickly. He will be on our show in the future.
We hope.
He was pretty keen.
So long as schedules align, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the launch is coming up in less than a month, you know.
Right.
Might not have time, but even after launch, we might try and get them on.
But I would say, before I branch this out to everyone else, I would say definitely keep an eye open for paper trails, and I think it's going to actually blow a lot of minds. Anybody want to add to that awesome game? that was my lead-in.
Okay.
You guys were there.
Well, I didn't get a chance to play the demo today, but
But you have eyes.
No, yeah, but I'll be going back and playing it later on because it is on Steam at the moment.
Yeah.
So you can go and download it. It's probably part of Steam Next Fest as well.
And it's out next month.
Yeah, it's 21st of May, wasn't it?
Yeah, PC, Xbox.
Yeah, all the consoles. I was disappointed. No Ouya launch.
I was going to say, the only thing was no Luna, but it was on Netflix games.
Yeah, it's on iOS and Android for Netflix games.
And it'll play on the MacBook as well.
And
Yes. It is crazy because I actually on Netflix games I downloaded some of the apps from on my iPad because that's what I play mainly on my casual games. They're not terrible.
I keep seeing them and I'm like,
I just completely forgot they're doing games.
So did I.
Oh, it's crazy.
I don't have
I did
Netflix.
play one of her story games once. When you watch a clip, you get to pick.
But Max, do you have any impressions of Paper Trails?
Beautiful sound design, and also just the concept of it is very clever. The actual initial moving of the characters is just point and click, but the fact that you can fold things out, and the fact that he was revealing certain secrets as well. But it was funny how he was like, oh yeah, but I don't even know how to solve this one because I'm a level designer who's in the audience. So this one, and I have a thing is that I thought that was cool because at least it showed all the different people that worked on it.
Well, it was only a very small team. He said that it was 5 full-time employees and 3 full-time contractors, wasn't it?
Pete was heckling him.
Yeah,
I
use the hint system.
and he was like, there isn't one. But I like the fact that obviously they had done the game previously, Hue, and he did state, Hue's a game that's massively based around colour.
Yes.
And he was like, and we quickly realised that there's people that are colourblind and this game wouldn't work, so we changed it. So it was like, right, so how can we make a game that also with all the accessibility options? And I liked it. I liked the progression of how they've chucked more accessibility options into the new game to cover all bases. So I thought that was really cool.
It was great,
because we're joking about Pete heckling him about look at the hint system, but they do have a hint system where you can turn that on. Where if you're playing and you cannot figure out the puzzle for that level,
it shows you essentially.
It shows you the solution. That's the word. Which I think is great. I'd love to see more accessibility in games. And stuff like that. So we're gonna wind this down, but we're gonna keep going for a little bit longer than
we're basically at the end of the time here, aren't we, for some of us?
Yes. Well, that's the thing. I have to catch a flight. But Ranger Dan, I love saying that first of all.
Ranger Dan.
Ranger Dan.
If you're wondering, it's from a B movie. His name is from a B movie.
Yes, was it
Psychopath Ranger? It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's B movies for you. That must
I
be
love
terrible.
B movies. I haven't recognized that one, but
we have a movie night in Discord every week because of copyright laws. We have rubbish.
And the jokes in the film were so bad, it's worth it.
Classy, so bad they're good.
It started off and it looked like a porno film.
Yes, they do. B movies do. Absolutely.
It was like this couple in the middle of nowhere getting in a tent and they were like, oh, what's that noise? And it was like,
and the funny thing is, one of the actors literally had a porno star.
So we started watching it and we were like, hang on a minute,
I'll say better pornos than that, I'll tell you that.
Oh, that's great.
This went off the rails.
Let's get
No, you're fine.
You said you edit things out.
I'm not editing this. This is too funny not to straight in.
On our Sunday show, our weekly show, I go, tangent time!
Yeah, there you go. We've had our first real tangent of the show. All because of Ranger Dan.
What can I say?
Yeah, there was a character in it called Ranger Dan that we thought got cannibalized, but then he came back at the end and saved the day, so yeah.
Right, spoiler alert. Right, Ranger Dan, save this day.
What games have you looked over the list, the wonderful list that has been provided by WASD? Is there anything you're looking forward to?
There was I think it's Die by the Blade, which is actually just out there.
Yeah.
This game,
It actually looks like quite a decent game. So I was looking at the graphics and thinking, and the way it makes me thinking, this kind of reminds me of like a PS2 game.
Now, it was a WASD a couple of years ago, and it looks a lot earlier, like then, obviously. But I think it played a lot better. It played more like Soul Calibur, but now it's tried to be its own thing, and it doesn't quite work as well. But give it a try at least.
Yeah, there was another game, but I saw the way it works out. It's one of those games where I'm like, I can't play that type of game.
Yes.
It's like kind of like a World of Warcraft type. It's Jotun something.
Oh, yeah.
It's next to however you say it. It is. It's the same company, yeah.
And it's like,
Which means giant in Norwegian.
I like the look of it, but it's the way it plays out. Like, I don't really like those type of games.
Yeah.
So instead of pressing a one to cast a spell, I will be pressing the button like hit it. So wait for recharge. One.
I ran into several games like that yesterday. But also, I think that, I'm rehashing kind of what we did yesterday, but a lot of people here have bought games not realizing they need a demo version. And so you have, they're playing like the actual game, and maybe there's a good 5-10 minute intro. Nobody wants to sit there 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, agreed.
There's that conscious thing of some of the games have got like a time demo, some are like 1 level, 2 level, and then it says thank you for playing.
Yeah.
But then some games are just like, just keep going. And you kind of like, I always want to be fair with people because you don't want to be sat on a game where you've got a queue of people. Now, there are some games where they've said, oh, it's a 20-minute demo, 30-minute demo. At least they make you aware of that. There's some where it's not a demo, so you could possibly be sitting down and play the whole game for like 2-3 hours.
Right, exactly.
It's just not fair on the people that are queuing to play it.
Yeah, they don't really make demos anymore.
No,
that's true. That is so,
I do think demos are an amazing way to get a vibe. Especially like, how many games have you seen where it's like, I might like it, I might not. So I'm not going to bother, right? If there's a free demo, you can jump in, you can play it, and you can be like, you know what, this is amazing, I'm going to buy it.
But now it's like with games like JRPGs, it's like give you the first 5 hours and then carry your progress over. It's not a demo then, is it?
That's actually, that kind of brings another thought. Like, I obviously watch Max stream every night.
Stalker!
Yes. Professional soccer. No, but his
Yeah, she
streams are
pays
from-
money to do so.
It's true. 2.5 hours? That's about right? 2.5 hours?
Well, yeah, for most games that come in.
And you play new games on Monday and Thursdays. There are games he plays that I would never touch with a 10-foot pole. It's not my style, whatever. But in that 2.5 hours, he plays it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try it. Vanishers being one.
Oh, yeah.
I would not have picked that up, but I'm going to pick that up because he played it, and it's cool. But I think that kind of speaks to we need more demos.
Absolutely.
And some creators have not quite, I say creators, I mean devs. Because I'm reading this sign right here. Some devs haven't quite picked up that we need bite-sized demos, not this, like, I'm going to say, like, I was dying on the Ox Cascade because I was just like, please, for the love of God, do something.
I think demos are amazing for advertisement as well. It's like, hey, we've released this game, try our demo, see if you like it, as opposed to, it's our game, buy it.
Like, recently, I'm actually quite sure they're not here, actually. It's an indie company that's made like their own Call of Duty zombies.
Wales Interactive with Maiden.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Which
so.
came out this week.
It is. Yeah.
I played the demo, and it's like, this is actually giving me old school zombie fight. I played it, I was like, what the hell's going on? What's that? What's this? And it's like, yeah, I'm buying it. Because
The thing is, there's also so much saturation with games nowadays. You look at a game and you think, oh, it looks like this is a game, so I'm not going to bother. Whereas if you see a demo, it's like, you know what? Yes, it looks like this is a game that I enjoy, but I'll download the demo and then realise, well, actually, it's different in XYZ1.
Exactly.
So, in fact, I will get the game as opposed to just thinking, you know what, it looks like this game, I'm not going to bother because I have this game already.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have to say, like, I guess Devolver's probably the perfect example for me. Walking by, we saw, what is the history of cricket?
Cricket through the ages.
And it looks like a Flash game from early 2000s. I wouldn't have touched it. I was just like, haha, people are dying laughing, but I'm like, maybe it's not my sense of humor, blah, blah, blah. But Pete and I sat down to play it, and it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. But if we didn't have that opportunity, like WASD gives us, to sit down, play those games for 5-10 minutes or whatever, I would have never.
I mean, for most games, screenshots and like a trailer doesn't do it justice.
No, it does not.
You need
That's
to really get down, have a feel of the controls, how the game plays. Otherwise, you look at a few screenshots and you're like,
Well, it's all right. Like you can watch a trailer, you can sort of get the picture of it, but we're in an interactive medium where you need to actually get your hands on something and play it rather than just see it.
That's the perfect example of that is Angerfoot. Is that right?
Angerfoot, yeah.
Yeah, because we've spoken about this before, but you go to play the demo and it is only keyboard based. You don't have the option of keyboard or controller, and the different keyboard commands and stuff end up being not great. They're not the same across the board.
No.
And we wouldn't have known that had we not played it. But I like the idea that we get to play several games with controller or keyboard. And I think that's another advantage that WASD gives us.
Yeah. Amber spotted Chris.
I thought we would skip over them. That's okay.
Nope, that's staying in. So yeah.
just refreshing now.
I did it sneakily.
I thought you did it very well.
Yeah.
I didn't
Until you tripped over my back.
You were fine.
until I revealed it. It's fine.
But to reiterate what I said, we're going to wrap this up. But to reiterate what I said, I do like the idea of a lot of the games have keyboards and controllers.
Yeah.
And you get to see which option works out better for you. Yes. So how are those fun Christmas? Yes. Cool ASMR.
Oh God, damn it, I've got to edit that later.
Other crisps are available from local good
I was
stores.
going to say, except they're not. It's only Walkers.
Hey, we're not endorsed by Gary Lineker.
I can't have Walkers because they all have wheat in them.
I know.
Like all of Walkers. That makes no sense.
No. Anyway, we've got to wrap this up.
Yes.
You got a flight to catch.
I have a flight to catch.
People got trained.
I need a link to this podcast when it's on.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No, I'm good. Crisps are being handed out as we record.
Yes, Crispin and
This is so
Vodka.
professional.
This is the after party bit where you go crispy and got alcohol.
Not bad.
Alcohol earlier. Kylie is doing her terrible dance moves.
What is it? Little blocks, big bucks. What is it? No, big
Big
fish.
bucks.
Big fish, little fish, cardboard box. Big fish, little fish, cardboard box.
Yes. Poor Pete is clueless. That's okay.
No, I am fully aware of what you mean. I am old.
Hey, you got to like Bob the Builder.
Can we fix it?
Yes, Pete. No, we can't.
Can I fix this recording? No, I cannot.
Bob's not going to help you out.
No, I am Bob in this occasion.
I think that's going to do it for our 3 3-day adventure.
Well, I think we should probably wrap the whole thing up.
I'm gonna wrap this rapid reviews up. No, I think that's gonna conclude us for our 3-day adventure. What I want to say to our lovely listeners and watchers is keep your eyes open for 2 videos coming from us. Pete's a little more serious. He's got your info. You know how it is. Every Sunday he gives you the facts. I'm going to give you a little bit more batshit insane things. The drunken version. And you should see Pete's face. So keep your eyes on our YouTube channel for that. But what I'm going to do is, since we have our lovely, lovely guests here, I'm going to get your socials, your Twitches, and everything. So where can we find you, Ember?
Hi.
As she swallows her chips.
Yeah.
Don't take that out of context.
That's why I followed up with the chips.
On Twitch, which is where I stream, I do a lot of indie games. It's Ember Shadow 2019 because Ember Shadow was taken, so not Soul Sick. On Twitter, I am Ember Shadow 2 because Ember Shadow was also taken.
God damn it.
I love that.
Brand unity, we gotta love it.
Ranger Dan.
He's giggling again.
I'm gonna call him this for the rest of his life.
So now I've got called by Greg from obviously, but now it's Ranger Dan.
Ranger
What else can I do?
Yes.
Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, it's all the same. Old Town Ranger 97.
Okay.
So, with Twitch, it's like variety games. But for a while, I did do a bit of FNAF.
Excellent.
Nice.
Can we say that you're Ember's mod, and that's
Yes, I'm one of the best mods ever.
yay! Best mods ever. Was it Mod Love?
No, it's not with us.
See, I was about to say mods are very much underappreciated.
Oh my gosh, we forgot to get our mod.
Oh my god. Nana, we're sorry.
I'm gonna have to.
Speaking of which, where's my
To find him and quickly.
Yeah, we can't put it in here. He's on later, so.
Nana, I am so sorry, Pete. You have to. Oh my gosh.
So no. Anyway, right, let's finish out.
Oh shit, yeah. For those who don't know me, Middleagedgamerguyuk on Switch.
You better know him.
Monday to Thursday, 9pm, and all that stuff. And if you don't know, then just follow Kiley, because she follows me.
And also, can you do the social for Retro Game Revival as well? Because they want
Retro Gaming Revival guys were here. They are on YouTube, and they are on most Monday or Tuesday nights with a weekly show which runs about 90 minutes. So go check them out. They do an Evercade podcast, they do a modern day podcast, and they do retro games as well. So go check that out.
It's not a peaceful reason, so.
Yeah,
He's
anyway.
so sweet.
He hasn't seen my breadcrumbs yet.
We are still recording.
I know, but
Come on!
I want Nana to know that he's so sweet and nice. But anyway, yes, I just had a lovely glass of water.
Do you need some more?
Thank you so much for joining us these past 3 days. Keep your eyes open for future content.
It's been chaos.
It's been chaos, but what else are you going to get with us?
Yeah, I want to say, just before we go, I just want to say thanks to all the amazing people we've met over this weekend, including the Retro Gaming Revival, Ember and Ranger Dan, Mags, Nana, Georgina and Lewis from Rapid Reviews UK, Justin.
It's been great. It's been our pleasure.
You've been hanging out with us basically all afternoon. We couldn't get rid of you.
Well, like talking on, like.
No, it's fine. We wanted you on. That's great.
Love it. More the merrier.
We're here for promotion and cross promotion and all that.
But we will end it on this WASD. Again, this is my first time going across the pond and enjoying a convention, and I have loved every second of it. I cannot recommend it enough. I'll be going to more this year, so I can compare it later on. So, Pete, any quick last thoughts?
Next up is Timeless.
Well, there's a few things in between.
No,
then.
next up for me is
for Pete.
Timeless. Thank you.
Okay.
I have no idea what that is, by the way.
I am not affiliated with Timeless.
What is our special?
Rapid 24, 15% off, and all that. You know.
Please buy tickets. I want you to look cool in front of Mags.
Some idiot decided he was going to put a gaming convention for the 3rd year in a row.
Who is that idiot?
Oh, it's me!
Oh yes.
for us, I believe, unless we have anything more to add.
WASD is a close, everyone. Well done. Good work.
So we will see you and talk to you literally next week.
Bye.
After that recording, me and Kiley went home. I made my journey back towards London. We walked back to London Bridge, took the train to Gatwick Airport, had conversations along the way, and took her along to the North Terminal where she departed. We did sit down, just the two of us, had a drink and non-alcoholic, and Kiley had some food before she went off, because by the time she would have got home it would have been late and probably not the best idea to eat that time in the evening. So I said my goodbyes, posted her along to security for a bag check, and then off I went to head my way home. So that was it. That was WASD in a nutshell. I wanted to take this time actually to say thanks to the amazing people that obviously were there. Some of the people, unfortunately, we didn't get to thank in the recording. We did plan to have several people in the recording who unfortunately weren't able to make it as well. The biggest one being Anamartho, who is our mod, an excellent mod at that. He is another one I met actually in person as well. He is a very, very nice guy. I wish I could have spent a little bit more time hanging out with him, but he was only there on the Saturday, and we unfortunately were very sort of preoccupied on the Saturday with mingling and all that sort of thing. So but yeah, wanted to say a big thanks to Nana and a massive apology to the fact that we wanted you on the recording on day 3, but the only place that we could find to record was in the Creators Lounge, and as your ticket wouldn't have allowed you to get in there, we couldn't bring you in. It was very unfortunate, and I apologise, because we'd had said to you we did want you on the recording. We really did. We love and respect everything that you do to our channel, to the Twitch channel, and to the modding that you do, you know, the posting out of the podcast and everything. You've been a massive fan for us. We've had you on the show, and we're glad you have you on again. It's just unfortunately it didn't work out this time, so apologies, but it was amazing to meet you. And yeah, I hope that you get to come to more events in the future so that we can hang out and spend a bit more time together. Other than that, there were several other people I want to thank along the way. So Tim and Ollie from the Retro Gaming Revival channel, we spent quite a bit of time with them along the way. They were very, very nice. I had some really great conversations with the both of them about various topics, some good laughs and whatnot, and they were two of the nicest guys that I think I've met at a convention. And you know, despite the fact that we had never met each other before, I think we came away as being really good pals, and I think we've both asked each other to keep in touch and stay on and get on each other's podcasts and channels. So look forward to seeing those collaborations in the future, because we love the guys over there, and there'll be one that I'll be keeping a very close eye on after meeting them this weekend. So massive thanks to you both. You know, it was amazing spending time with you both, and getting to have a Sleazy's pizza with you both as well, which was awesome as hell. So I wanted to also thank as well Dan and Andrew at Debug Magazine. Their panel that they did was absolutely incredible with Paper Trails developer, but also to be the fact that they were very nice to us along the way, you know, speaking with me every morning after, you know, what was a very busy few days for all of them where they had meetings, but always taking the time to chat and having a good opportunity to talk to Andrew as well before the Arcade Paradise party was also very nice as well. So I wish you all the best for the future. Debug Magazine is a wonderful little publication that we absolutely love and will gladly keep promoting on our show, because indie publications and indie games are what's keeping our industry alive during this absolute shit show of what is a AAA industry at the moment. So we need the indies to keep us going. So keep doing what you're doing, stay humble, stay true, and keep doing exactly what you do, because you guys are incredible. Also to Middle-Aged Gamer Guy, he's obviously someone that we have known for quite a while now. He co-hosted a happy hour with Kiley whilst I was moving house last year. He stepped up, he helped the show out in a major way, and we can't thank him enough for that. But he spent quite a lot of the weekend with us. He was doing his own thing, he had his own engagements, but he would always take time to come and have lunch with us, go out for dinner, meet up with us for a drink or whatever, and our paths always crossed. And it was very nice to obviously to get a nice message from him when he got home last night, after his drive from London. So I'm glad you got home safe. It was amazing spending more time with you over the weekend. I can say definitively now that you've gone from being just a pal to probably an actual friend, and I love and respect you as much as I do anyone else. Like, you are a great guy. I really appreciate the time that we spent together over the weekend, and I hope we can do more in the future. Obviously Timeless is coming up in August, so I know that you're going to be really busy with that, so hopefully we get to spend some time together then. But if we don't, then there's always the after party, so don't worry, there'll be a drink for you at the end of that, because you deserve one after the busy day that you would have on that time. But I will be in your streams, obviously. I'm sure Kiley will definitely be as well, but I look forward to seeing everything you do as well, and I'm looking forward to watching more of your content as well. But thank you again for being awesome throughout the whole weekend. There were several other people as well. I've forgotten some of them, like the guys that I mentioned during the trip to Sleazy's Pizza. But also wanted to say thanks to the people that I met along the way on Saturday, including Ember Shadows and her mod Ranger Dan. We spent most of the day on Saturday with them, and they're just such a chill pair of people. Very fun, very cool, very interesting. I hope Ember made it back to Manchester okay. And I'm not sure where Ranger Dan was going, but I hope he made it home safely as well. And it was an absolute pleasure to meet you both as well. Hopefully we can see each other again in the future, and fingers crossed you both are there for Timeless in August as well, because if you are, don't worry, we'll be seeing and speaking more to you then. So just a few other ones as well. So wanted to say thanks to Lewis, or Venomous, who's on our Discord, the Rapper Reviews Discord. It was the first time I've been speaking to him for years, and it was nice to actually finally meet him in person, despite the fact it was very brief. It was only for a couple of minutes, because he was a very, very busy man. He'd been there all weekend and spent a lot of time playing a lot of games ready for review. So you put the work in, my friend, and geez, that notebook is absolutely filled with notes. So whenever you get around to writing that up, I'm not sure when, but please post the link out. I will be there to listen or to read it and give my thoughts on it, because I'm interested to see what you think about all the games that you played, because it looked like you played nearly every single one. Next was Jack Tendo. Brother, a friend of the show, or best friend of the show, Mike Tendo, and the editor of Mike Tendo 64. Our time was brief. You were only there on the Saturday, but my God, it's always nice seeing you. And had it not been for the fact that I'd only seen you a month before at the Princess Peach event, I would have spent more time with you, but I wanted you to have some good time with your missus and your two kids. But it was nice seeing you, and Kiley was blown away by the fact that your partner was so nice and lovely and accommodating to her, and was chatting away to her and all that, and your kids were chatting away to her as well. Not many things really get to her, but that really got to her. She said it was amazing, so she wanted to say thanks to you as well. But yeah, it was a shame that we didn't get to spend more time together, but there'll be more events in the future, so I'm sure that you'll be there as well as us, and we hope we can spend a bit more time together as well. Next up was Georgina Howlett, who was also a reviewer on the Rapid Reviews Discord, or Rapid Reviews UK publication, and on our Discord. Another one that I have spoken to quite a lot over the years, and it was nice to finally meet you in person once again, as brief as it was. You know, it was very nice to say hello. And I really wish you all the best in the future. Like, hopefully you can find yourself another job soon enough, and fingers crossed, you know, you aren't out of work too long. It was a shame to hear about that. Obviously, I'm all sympathies to you, but I'm sure you'll pick yourself back up and be on your feet soon enough. When life gives you lemons and all, you know, you have to make lemonade, and so make that lemonade. I'm sure it'll be good. Sorry for the poor analogy, but hey. Next, to another fellow podcaster bunch and 2/3 of the Big Red Barrel UK podcast, to Coleman and Tim, who I've listened to for the last couple of years, ever since I'd sat and listened to one of your shows at either EGX Resd or WASD. I can't remember. I'm sure it was EGX Resd at the Tobacco Docks. So I've been a fan for a couple of years now. I really like your podcast. I really like what you do. I was glad that I was able to finally sort of pluck up the courage and come and say hello after a couple of years of seeing you around in previous events and sort of going, oh, don't really know, I don't really want to say anything. But yeah, you guys are genuinely very, very nice, and you were happy to take the time to speak to one of your fans, and I hope obviously you had a really good show and enjoyed what you played there. I look forward to listening to what you said, look forward to listening to what you played and what your thoughts are of the event as a whole. And yeah, I'll be a keen fan for a lot longer now, because you guys were so nice. And you know, I came out of the blue and said hello, but you still asked about my podcast, and it was wonderful. So let's keep the indie publications and the indie podcast scene alive, because we're competing against the big boys, and I think we do a better job than all of them. So keep up what you do, and say hello to Dr. Dan for me, because he unfortunately wasn't there, but I'm glad I got a small little jab about how many menus were in there for Tim. Inside joke for the show, of course. But there were so many more people that I want to thank along the way. You know, there were so many people that we met. There were so many people that we spoke to. This event was incredible. It was one of my most favourite events that I've been to in years. As someone who struggles with a little bit of anxiety, you know, in terms of social aspect, especially someone going on their own, I've always walked around the events with earphones in, just listening to podcasts and not really interacting with many people at all. So it was nice to actually break that mould and spend the time with some really cool people. And I think I made some good friends along the way. So I'm so thankful, honestly, for the weekend that I had. But most of all, the biggest thanks has to go to the people who organised it, the people at WASD who put together probably one of the most incredible shows with a sole focus on indie. You've really helped highlight these publishers, these developers, given them a platform to show their games to the general public and show what's upcoming for the games industry. This was one hell of a show, and it had one hell of a lineup of games there, and it was no better event that I've ever been to. I think I'm looking forward to seeing what the next event will be, because it is unbelievable the amount of work that obviously went into it. You know, the unsung heroes of the whole event tends to keep in the back and just let it all play out, but you deserve every single bit of plaudits that you get along the way, because this show was ran fantastically well, very well organised, and well maintained. You know, the only mild criticism I have is there should have been a schedule for the talks, which would have been nice, but that may be a little bit of feedback that you hear along the way from quite a few people, and hopefully you streamline that along the way for the next event. Because whilst you got a book that showed all the games that are on show and the careers talks, the main stage didn't have a lot of publication, which was a shame. It was on social media, but it would have been nice for it to be in your booklet. So maybe something to learn for the next event, but other than that, everything was absolutely perfect. So well done to you, everyone there. The security staff were all very nice, very accommodating, did your bag checks in the morning, were always willing to say good morning, good afternoon, and all that as well. So, but also to the developers who brought their games, the publishers who brought their PR teams along, unbelievable stuff. Like, your games are incredible. I'm really thankful I got a lot of time to play a lot of games that were very fun, very enjoyable. I've wish listed quite a few of them that I've played as well, so I hope that shows some modicum of support that's there, because you guys deserve all the support you get. You deserve all the plaudits you get for showing your games. They are unbelievable what I played, and I'll be keeping a very keen eye on all of them. It takes a lot to obviously take your game to the public and take all the criticism and then hopefully build on that. But the fact that you're there willing to listen to all the feedback and then hopefully implement it along the way is such a great thing, because we don't seem to have a lot of that from a lot of the AAA or AA developers. They don't want to listen to what the general public want to say, and yet you're there willing to listen to hear what gamers really want. So thank you so much for obviously bringing it out to us. I can't say thanks enough, because all you guys and gals were just immense. And there are far too many to name, so I won't try and name them all, but there'll be a list of some of the games that we played across the recording, of course, and I'll try and list down as many as I can in the show notes and give links to them, but it's going to be almost impossible to do so. But we talked about them at length in the show, and we spoke very highly of some. We spoke particularly highly of a lot. And yeah, we had a great time. It was unreal. I'm taken aback, obviously, and I'm struggling to even get through this because, one, my voice is absolutely screwed, but it's the sign of a good weekend that I laughed. We all laughed. We had a good load of chats. We played some great games and made some friends along the way. So with that said, I'm going to close this out because it's currently 10 in the morning. I have slept, but not a lot. And I want to get on and actually have a weekend with my partner, who, nicely enough, has been so accommodating with the fact that I've had to go off for 3 days and leave her, to sort herself out with her dinner and all that, and spend time with friends, and have to put up with me coming home being absolutely knackered and hardly wanting to do anything in the evening. So, thanks to her for obviously having to put up with me. But now is the time for me to go and spend a day with her, relax, chill out, do a few things at home, and have a nice Sunday before I have to go back to the normal world and go back to work and do my adult stuff. It was nice to actually just take the load off for 3 days and just essentially just have fun. And that's all it should be. These conventions should be about having fun, and that is exactly what me and Kiley, I probably mirror her sentiments. I don't want to talk for her, but that's exactly what we did. We had a great fun. We had great laughs, and it was some of the best times that I've ever had. So let me close this out. Just on the brief one, please use Rapid24 for the checkout for 15% off your Timeless Gaming Convention tickets, which is going to be on the 14th of August at the Arcade Club in Bury in Manchester. So we hope to see you all there. Not sure what the next event will be, but after that, but we will figure that out along the way. But there'll be a few other things that we plan to meet up in the future for, so keep an eye out on that. But I'm going to co-opt her outro as well for the next time. So that will do us for now, for this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you and talk to you next week. Goodbye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Rapid Reviews Radio podcast. You can find the podcast on Anchor FM, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and various other podcast platforms. You can also find the video version by searching Rapid Reviews on YouTube and watch the podcast recording live on Twitch at twitch.tv/rapidreviews at 7:30pm UK time every Sunday. Please make sure to follow the podcast on Twitter at RRRadiopod, and for all the latest reviews, visit www.rapidreviewsuk.com or on Twitter at RapidReviewsUK.